Hey, it's Chris and Brian here from Resolve Technology. And today, Chris stumbled upon an article about Google Chrome pop ups that try to trick users into pasting commands into a PowerShell window. This is typically not something that most end users are going to want to do anyway, but I thought we'd point it out because maybe if you're a power user, you might go through all these steps thinking you're going to fix your system or whatever. But Chris will shed some light on what happens here and how they end up compromising a system if a user is willing to go through these steps.
Yeah, so they're mentioning that this is not just Chrome. So you see the Chrome error here. If we scroll down, there's also this one. So like a Word one, a OneDrive one telling you got some, look, Word extension is not installed in your browser. So it's trying to do something with the browser extension and it gives you directions. It'll copy like a PowerShell commands into the clipboard or a script of some kind, which then goes out and grabs some malicious script that does the following here. So like it flushes your DNS cache. Just know that's like all your web requests on your system there. If that's cleared out, like it's, I don't know, you know a good way of explaining that in layman's terms, Brian?
Well, it's flush the DNS cache, maybe less likely to trigger antivirus or things like that. I'm not quite sure why they would flush the DNS cache, but
It's just
anyway.
it's a little strange. Remove clipboard content, display the decoy message like in Chrome there. It then downloads another remote PowerShell script which performs an anti-VM check. Just know before downloading then an info stealer. So just know when it says this anti-VM check, that's something built into Windows Defender. If you're using Windows Defender, it's some functionality to check if this is like a virtualized system. It's not quite something in the cloud, maybe. It's not like a physical computer. That's what it's checking. And they gave us the whole process here. So like they visit a legitimate but compromised website. It injects this JavaScript, fake overlay. The victim follows and pastes the commands into the PowerShell terminal. And then it goes through the stages here. I'd like to mention too, though, that it says that this exe file is a legitimate signed file. What they mean by that is like it's legitimate. So the website you go to is actually their real site. The file is like legitimately signed by a company or corporation that owns the software, or whatever file it's using. I'd have to see the file to know more on that. But in some
Well,
cases,
Chris, let's talk about why that's important, because if it's unsigned, it's more likely to get picked up by things like Windows Defender,
yeah,
antivirus programs, and anti-malware programs and things like that. But if it's signed, it's less likely to get picked up.
yeah. And it's worth mentioning, so PowerShell, there's actually, your IT department would likely know more about this than like the users on the systems, but there is options where you can restrict what it can execute, because by default PowerShell, I don't want to say willy-nilly, but you can do a lot with powerful tool for IT professionals and malicious actors as well. But you can do like something like remote signed. There's certain restrictions you can put in place. Something that's signed like that's dangerous, because like generally you run some third party thing, it's going to pop up, are you sure, are you sure, are you sure? This kind of gets around that. So maybe if more things like this crop up, we might restrict PowerShell a little more on certain systems where a user has administrator access.
Okay, so remember, in this case, most end users are not going to fall for this, because they got to copy and paste these commands in, or click the button and pay and open up PowerShell and run as administrator and things like that. I mean, if you can, your people, I mean, if they can totally lock down PowerShell, that would be great. But a lot of the IT departments and like us, we use PowerShell to automate some things on systems and just run basic commands. So you got to be careful there. But if you can lock it down PowerShell altogether, then you can totally avoid this. Just remember to train your users on any pop-ups. You don't want to click buttons and things like that on pop-ups. You certainly don't want to copy commands into a command window, whether it's the command prompt or PowerShell, because that's how this all gets going. That's how you launch this thing.
Yeah, lift off.
Lift off. All right, Chris, we'll leave it there. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye.
Bye.